Pleasure of seeing you and a colleague debate two Muslim scholars a week ago Monday on internet TV, and as a segue for this, they ended by inviting both Robert and his colleague, these two scholars, to convert a number of times, and it was broadcast throughout the Muslim world as well. But one of the, and if anyone here would like to see it, it's online, and I guess you could just Google April 30th, 2012, Spencer, did Muhammad exist? And you'd come up with the site. I can't remember the site offhand.
It's ABN SAT, Aramaic Broadcast Network. The network that hosted it, and that's ABN SAT for satellite.com. It's also at my website, jihadwatch.org. It was a debate with me and David Wood, who's a Christian leader, against Anjem Chowdhury and Omar Bakri. Anjem Chowdhury is a jihadist leader in Britain, who's very open about his desire to see Islamic law rule Britain and the non-Muslims be subjugated, and the British state and laws be entirely discarded. And Omar Bakri, who used to be in Britain and is now in Lebanon, he went to Lebanon during the last war with Israel, whatever that was with Israel, and he was not allowed to return to Britain because of all his subversive activities. Anyway, we debated Chowdhury and Bakri about the thesis, the central question of my new book, which is, did Muhammad exist? And they said, of course Muhammad existed in the Quran. Why did I do that?
You really have to watch this because they go round and round. They won hands down. But one of the things that struck me, and it ties in again with what we were talking tonight, twice in that debate, Mr. Chowdhury, the scholar who was in Britain, said, once he said, Islam is a religion and ideology, and the second time he said, Islam is an ideology. And I really want to focus on that being an ideology, because ideologies like Nazism, communism, and so forth aren't given our free, First Amendment rights. And yet we have a Muslim scholar coming up and saying that it's an ideology. Right?
Yes.
And if you could comment on that, I think we would all appreciate it.
Ibrahim Hooper, the Council on American Islamic Relations, which is the most prominent, high-profile Muslim group in the United States, has said exactly the same thing. And that's actually what I was speaking to before, that I don't believe that it's a restriction on Muslims' First Amendment rights to restrict the political, ideological aspects of Islam that are at variance with our constitutional freedoms. The practice of Judaism and Christianity don't conflict with the U.S. constitutional law. And I don't think that there's anything illegitimate about asking Islam to fit into the same parameters and to restrict and reject the elements of it that don't fit into them. I mean, it's either going to be one or the other, If we don't do that, then we can be sure that over the next few decades we will see more and more assertive and aggressive calls to discard or infringe upon freedoms that we take for granted today in favor of the restrictions of Islam's law.